Hello. Testing. Hello everybody and welcome to Henry's Kitchen. Hopefully you can hear me. Where today we're going to be making Henry's famous fish patties. Can you hear me all right? Okay. My fish patties walked their way into people's hearts on the 4th of July of 2019 when I made my fish sticks, actually. And the difference between fish sticks and fish patties is a little subtle. The difference is that with fish sticks you're using fresh ingredients, whereas today we're going to be using old bread as our flour base, and this is actually a good way to use old ingredients that you might have in your cupboard. If you have a can of tuna there, some old bread, and some veggies lying around. So, without further ado, let's get into some of the terminology here. The term fish patty originated in the 17th century as an English alteration of the French word pâté. According to the OED, it's related to the word pasty, which is various ingredients encased in a pastry. The term patty is used in many varieties of English, but less frequently in Britain and Ireland than in the United States. Merriam-Webster defines it as a small flat cake or chopped food. You could also call these fish cakes if you prefer. In Cambridge, as a piece of food, especially meat, formed into a thin circular shape and then usually cooked, which in today's case will be cooked. In some countries, patties are called discs. I feel like that could get confusing with compact discs, but you probably at least can see that they're a similar shape. So let's talk about some of the ingredients that we're going to have. Oops. Okay, sorry, I went to the roast beef cam there. Okay. We had somebody ask what a CD is. A CD is a compact disc, and it's a very modern way to get music. I'm sure that was probably an older person who remembers cassette tapes and records and 8-tracks, but the new way the kids are doing it now is using a compact disc, which is a digital technology that uses lasers, and you should check it out because it's there's no noise on the recordings that you're listening to. Okay. So let's talk about some of the ingredients we're going to be using. Number one, we want our 2 slices of old bread. And it's very important that you use old bread here. The French have a saying, pain perdu, which means lost bread. And that's where they came up with French toast. I also have some various herbs here that we're going to be using. I think this is cilantro and a little bit of parsley. We've got our can of tuna, 1 egg, some olives, and actually the bread is it's been frozen, so it might not look so bad, but it's certainly several months old. Next thing that we're doing here is I've got green beans that I put into the microwave, and we're just going to go ahead and open these up. This is going to be a very healthy dish also. It's got fish, which is always good, and as well as it's got green beans. As you can see, this is very hot. That's our green beans, and these are very healthy for you. let's talk about what our methodology is going to be here. Okay, step one is we want to take our bread. I'm going to move these green beans aside for a second. We want to take our bread and we want to put it into a bowl of water. Sorry. Right there. I'm sure you can see that. So we're going to take our 2 pieces of bread and we're literally going to dunk them in the water, and we're going to leave them there until they get very, very soggy. This is going to act as our flour base. While we've got those soaking, let's go ahead and start prepping our vegetables. I'm going to start with some olives. These are called manzanilla olives. Had a question about what type of water I'm using. In this case, I have just some tap water. I'm not sure that you need to use filtered, but you know, it's like they say, you know, when you go to a really good coffee place, they will tell you that most of what you're drinking when you're drinking coffee is water. And if you're not using a good kind of water, then you might as well not be drinking coffee. Speaking of which, I have a bit of coffee I'm going to have here. And it's very hot. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut our olives. I hope everybody's getting their week started off in a good way. If you have a question, now is a good time to ask, because this is sort of a mindless activity. I'm not sure why there's red stuff in between these olives, but as they say in America, whatever. We're going to make sort of an ingredient bowl here. I'm probably going to make just a couple more olives. They say you can't have too many olives unless you have a problem with sodium, in which case you should probably switch to something less salty. I don't have a problem with sodium yet, but it does happen as you get older. Let's see here. Okay, I think that should be enough. I had a question about whether or not you can replace the olives with other things. Absolutely, and thanks for bringing that up. There are a lot of optional items in this dish. You can swap out your olives for pickles, zucchini, cucumber, anything that is long and green. Speaking of which, I'm going to add a little bit of our green beans into here. I'm going to do about the same proportion as I did there. Okay. I'm going to consult the directions. Always look at the directions for all these things. Recently I was trying to open a bit of medicine. It was Imodium, which is something that you use if you have loose stools. I don't want to get too personal here, but I guess it's too late for that. But I couldn't get the thing open, and it turns out it was child-proof. They wanted you to fold over some part of it. And okay, so let's consult the directions this time. So we're soaking our bread in large shallow dish until softened completely. We're going to be now mixing. Oh, okay, shit. I actually I might have done something out of sequence here, which is okay. we're supposed to be pulling over our hot plate. Sorry about that. I should have been looking at the directions. This is our hot plate. We're going to crank this thing up to all the way. It's actually a griddle, but I'm using it as a hot plate, and I gotta say, I already loved this this item, this griddle. It's probably one of the coolest things that I have in my kitchen. But when I found out that you could use it as a hot plate, that pretty much just blew my mind. We're gonna let that heat a little bit. Once you have something that can be used as a hot plate in your kitchen, then you're opening up the doors to so many things like, boiling water, sauteing things, whatever. And when I found out that my griddle also operated as a hot plate, it was just a very exciting time. I guess it was a little bit like if you got a girlfriend and you found out she also had a truck or something like that. But that's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a little bit of olive oil onto our skillet, probably about a capful, and we're going to get that nice and hot. And it says we're supposed to put our ingredients in there. We're going to heat our herbs and our other various greens. So I'm going to start tearing off some pieces of cilantro or parsley or whichever one this is and putting it in there. This can be a little bit of a painstaking process, but it can also be a little bit sort of therapeutic. And it doesn't really matter if you get any stems. I guess I'm trying to do it perfect because I'm trying to teach it. But if you're at home and you're not talented enough to put herbs in there without getting some stem in there, that's perfectly all right. Once it cooks, it's gonna all sort of dissolve in there. So I'm not going to be too worried about it here. We're just going to go ahead and get a couple of stems in there. I've had nights where I've spent hours trying to get no stems in there, and it's really not worth it at the end. But unless you're cooking for a fancy restaurant or whatever. Okay, so now we're going to grab a utensil and start stirring this around a little bit, getting it nice and hot. Now I'm going to add in our other greens. Okay, so we have some people that approve of adding in the stems, and I'm glad to hear that. You know, we don't really want anybody to get too OCD about these types of things. Okay, so we're going to let that cook. I think I'm going to just check a couple of steps ahead on our recipe. It's a little bit like playing chess, where you want to think a couple of steps ahead to make sure that you don't do something wrong. So here we go. So we've got our olive oil in a non-stick skillet over a medium heat, and we're going to cook that. And we're going to stir it for about 5 minutes. What we're going to be doing after that is we're going to mix this mixture with our softened bread in a large bowl. So that's the next step. Why don't I put this aside and let's go to this other step that involves our bread. Okay, so it wants us to remove the dish. No, it wants us to remove our bread from dish and squeeze as much water from the bread as is possible. So it sounds like I'm going to need another plate for this. So we're going to squeeze the water out of our bread. I guess it's a little bit like a dish sponge or something. Yeah, some people saying it looks tasty already. Well, wait till you get the final product once we get our veggies in there. Okay, so I'm trying it. You know, the recipe says squeeze as much water as possible out of the bread. I don't personally like it when recipes say that you need to do as much as possible, because really, what is as much as possible? Do they want me to sit here for hours and get every single last drop of water out of these things? I guess so. Somebody asked if that water is drinkable. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. It's really just bread and water with a little bit of a stem in there from some various herb type situation. But okay, there we go. So why don't we then take this bread and put it, I believe, into our bowl. Oh, looks like somebody's come to join us here. Okay, so sauteing. Wow. I haven't fed roast beef yet. As a matter of fact, neither of us have eaten all day. We're on this new diet situation. Let's see if I can get a shot of anyway, okay. So let's put our bread water aside. I don't know if we're going to be needing that bread water later. So the next thing that we want to do, you can use that bread water to water your plants. I don't see anything wrong with that. This is actually coming out quite nice. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to let that cook again for 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to mix that mixture with our softened bread, our green beans. Okay, now we're going to start doing our tuna here. Some people asking for cumin. I can certainly add spice. Shit, hold on. This is a sort of a newfangled can opening situation, which doesn't always work the way that you want it to. You can really smell those veggies. This thing's great because it holds on to your can after it's done. Hold on a sec. Probably going to have to feed the cat at some point. Now I'm having a problem removing the can opener from the fucking can. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dump this. They're always trying to improve technology, and they wind up making it more difficult and less good. Okay. So we've got there some bread, tuna. What other things do we have to have? Mix the parsley mixture with the softened bread, tuna, green beans, eggs. We're going to do an egg. Somebody asked if I could have used the tuna water to soak my bread, and you're absolutely right. That kind of goes back to that cooking as a chess game type thing, because if I would have thought about the fact that I was going to have water already, I probably would have just gone ahead and done that. So, all right. Let's continue on here. I want to make sure that you can see this okay. Okay. I'm going to just put this in here. All right, we're starting to get quite the mixture here. I might need a slightly smaller utensil and a larger bowl, but let's see what else we've got here. I'm not going to be using cumin. I'm going to be using herbes de Provence, which is herbs from the provinces. So green beans, we've got our 1 egg in there. We've got our olives, salt and pepper, herbes de Provence. So let me grab that. Okay, here it is. This is called herbes de Provence. And I'm not sure what is in there. In fact, nobody really knows for sure. It's a little bit of a mystery. But it sure does make things delicious. Gonna use a fork, I guess. And we're just gonna go ahead and stir this up. So let's stir it up. I don't know if you're following along at home, what stage you're at, but as you can see, there's a lot of different options when it comes to ingredients in this dish. You can swap out again. Somebody said pickles, but you could do zucchini. You could do cucumber. Someone asked a question about whether or not this was similar to cat food, and the answer is yes. Tuna is very well liked by cats, which is probably why we're getting roast beef hovering around us like this, because he probably smells it. Also because I haven't fed him this morning because we're going on this keto diet thing. Yeah, somebody asked me, this is a good technical question. I wanted to post the ingredients for this beforehand. I don't really know where to do that unless I did it on my Twitter. But if somebody has a comment about where they'd like to see the ingredients beforehand, maybe I'm not good enough at Twitch, or maybe it's a flaw with the Twitch technology, and I'll have to call them and see if maybe I could bring this to their attention. But I would like you guys to be following along at home. So let me know if you have any ideas of how I can post the... Is there something on the bio? Like, do you do it in the bio or whatever? Yeah. But I think the idea is to do it channel panel. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, and I appreciate it. Remember, somebody mentioned Discord. You know what? Discord is probably the best thing. That's the best way to do it. That's what we're going to do, because there is a Henry's Kitchen Discord. Okay. A lot of good ideas here. With your permission, though, I'm going to read those later, and I'm going to take care of it. Right now, what I'm doing here is requiring quite a bit of concentration. So I want to make sure that I don't mess this up. I think we're just about ready to put these on the burner. So let's take a look at our next thing here. It says Okay. Apparently there's some people who just joined us and they want to know, what's going on. I will tell you, it's Henry's Famous Fish Patties. I've made something similar to this in 2019 on the 4th of July, Fish Franks. Fish Franks and fish patties are very similar. The only difference here is that we're taking some of our old bread, which was frozen, so it wasn't that old, but you could take old bread and you can soak it in some water for about 5 minutes and then squeeze the juices out, and then that's going to act as your dough-based ingredient. Okay, so just looking ahead here, the next thing that we're going to do, we've got our herbes de Provence, we've basically got a dough, and what we're going to do now is we're going to form these into 24 thin palm-sized patties. So I'm going to grab I guess for this I'll go ahead and grab one of these things, and let's start making us some patties, folks. All right. So you literally just want to knead the dough a little bit. This is a little juicy, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I didn't spend enough time doing my getting that water out of the bread, which could have been a possibility. Cooking isn't easy, and if it was, then everybody'd be doing it. That's an old saying from Julia Child, who was a very famous chef. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm making patties. If you're just joining now, I'm making patties. Henry's Famous Fish Patties. I bought my tuna at the grocery store. You can buy yours anywhere. Alright, so they said 24 patties. It looks like I'm only making about 7 of them. Well, 6.5 really. I'm not sure why that is. Okay. I'm being told that it looks moist and juicy, and I appreciate that. That sounds like a compliment if I've ever heard one. So we have a very chill cat in the background, I can see. He's definitely wanting to get him some of that fish patty. I don't know that this is appropriate to feed to your cat, so maybe hold off if you're thinking of doing that. But let's go ahead and go to the most important step, which is going to be putting our patties onto our hot plate. In this case, a question about whether you could use chicken instead of fish to do what I'm doing here. Absolutely not. That just wouldn't work. And I don't approve of that question. I'm gonna I had a question about if this is better than the ones that they serve at McDonald's. Actually, these are very similar. I believe that they make them in a very similar process. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our fish patties down. I'm just going to scoop them up. Got some people saying they don't like the apron because it's too dirty. Look, if you don't have a dirty apron, you're not doing it right. It's going to get dirty. Cooking is a very messy business. I'm also going to be able to use some of this griddle surface. I probably am due for a new apron, though. This has literally been about it's been about 11 years since I've cleaned it, so it might be due. That's not a bad point. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave those on there for a little bit. Let's see how long it says. Stage 4. Stage 4 says cook the patties. Heap 1 tablespoon of olive oil on a large skillet. Okay. I did not put olive oil down on this. I don't know that we need it. We did have olive oil on there from the previous sauteing, but we're basically cooking these patties in the skillet until they're cooked through. So it's going to be about 3 minutes on each side. So maybe now that we have to kill a little time, would be a good time to do maybe to do a little musical number. Does anybody want to hear a song? I've got my guitar. Sometimes it's fun to just make up songs in the moment. Why don't we do this song about fish patties? I like to make fish patties. I think that they're good. Won't you help me make fish patties? I think that you should. I like to make fish patties. I think that's understood. So help me make fish patties. I really hope that you would. That could be a hit. Had a request for this old standby. This is a song that I wrote during a very, very dark time in my life. But I discovered cooking and everything changed after that. Make it through the night, 'cause I am tired and alone. Help me make it through the night, 'cause I don't like myself anymore. Somebody said that they played this song at their wedding, which is very cool. I think that's awesome. I wouldn't expect that. I think this is more one of those songs that you play years later after the marriage is over and you're looking at pictures of the wedding while you're drinking a bottle of some alcohol of your choice. I guess I'm just not interesting. I have no personality. I met a guy who had cancer. He felt sorry for me. I'm always coming in last place and getting dirt kicked in my face. And I guess that's just the way it's meant to be. Uh-oh, I just remembered we should be switching the side of our thing here. I want to flip these over. I think it might have been a problem that I didn't use any olive oil on this, and I might live to regret that. But not only is this cooking where a lot of things go wrong. Oh, I'm getting some encouraging notes from people. Okay, the ones on the griddle are looking much better. for some reason. So it might have something to do with the surface that I'm using there. Let's go back to some music. So we've done a couple of songs for you there. Maybe I can try to fake my way through one more if you guys... West Virginia by Train. I don't know that song. I wish I did. I'm sorry. I think there is a song by John Denver that says, "Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home." That's an okay one. It doesn't have anything to do with cooking. Someone mentioned Freebird. I'm as free as a bird now. Something like that. Dun, 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 dun. I went into some other song there, but okay. Well, I think these are just about ready here. Let's go ahead. See how we're doing here. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. All right. Somebody asked about a donation button. I appreciate that. I probably should start doing that. I have a feeling I'll be twitching for the rest of my life here, so I'm going to have a lot of a learning curve to go here. So if you keep watching, you'll find that I get better and better at it, and I've also had some great help from people that I'm going to be giving a special thanks to during this episode. This is not working out. The one that's on the pan is just flat out not working out. But these patties seem to be doing pretty well. They're maintaining a consistency, sticking together. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our patties from the pan and I'm going to move this over here, and I'm hoping that I can save this. I actually am not somebody who really minds when bad things happen in the kitchen. That's going to be difficult to clean, by the way. And I want to address that. Here's the thing. I've been cooking for many, many years. I've been asked to cook for various functions, usually just one time, and then I get asked by somebody who hasn't ever met me before. But I do cook fairly professionally, and I've been cooking it on YouTube for many years. And when you see me screw up, what I'm hoping is that it gives you the confidence to know that it's like, wow, this guy is some famous cook and he screws up. Maybe I'm not such an awful person, and maybe it'll make you feel better to see that that even the pros sometimes will forget to put olive oil in the pan, for example, or in this case it said it was supposed to be a non-stick pan, and I don't know if that's what that was exactly, but it sure did stick. You know, you have to read the directions. You have to read the directions, and make sure that you learn from your lessons, you know. Like, for example, when I made my fish sticks a couple of years ago, I seem to recall that I put them on my grill, on a barbecue grill grate, where the fish was falling through the grill, and I guess I thought that they were going to stay together more. That was a huge problem. As you can see, I didn't make that mistake this time because I learned. And next time I make a fish-based patty or frank, I'm going to make sure that that I use olive oil when I set the patties down. Let's see how these are doing. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just simply not behaving, and it's unfortunate. I'm even thinking maybe the best idea would be to just make one giant patty out of these. Someone asked if I would ever run for office or for president of the United States, or maybe any country that'd be willing to have me. Sure. I think that would be, hey, as long as I can cook, I'd be good with it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got 3 patties that have worked out very nicely. And I'm going to try to make a nice presentation when I plate that. Let's... Okay, so for anybody who's just joining us right now, what we're doing is we're making fish patties, and what we did was we took some bread, soaked it, squeezed it, got all that water out. Then we put a mixture of tuna and various other herbs and veggies and made it into a dough. We forgot to put olive oil on the no-stick pan, so it stuck. And now we've got basically 3 patties that were on the grill that are looking pretty damn good, but we have a bunch of other stuff that we're going to try to salvage into one full patty. So here we go. We're done with the griddle here. The griddle behaved very well, and that's certainly something to be thankful for. I'm going to move this over. It's going to be very hot. It's not so bad, I guess. And I've got a plate here. Plating is one of the most important parts of this. Somebody asked if this recipe is in my cookbook. There's Henry's Kitchen Cookbook, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I believe in Volume 2 I do my fish franks, and fish franks and the fish patties are very similar. The only difference is that patties are a round disc type shape, whereas a frank is more of an elongated obelisk. Okay, so we have fish patties. So somebody asked where roast beef is, and I'm a little concerned. He was there for a little while cleaning himself. Let's check in on the roast beef cam. Okay, yeah, he's still doing basically the same thing there. So it's really kind of all he does. All right, well, when these these patties we're going to put aside. These came out perfect. You can't get a better patty than that. That's pretty damn good. This, on the other hand, is a little bit of a problem. So now we're going to do a little bit of improvisation. I'm going to go ahead and eat this. Somebody asked about sauce. Yes. I'm going to be putting a mayonnaise tartar sauce on this when I'm finished. But let's go ahead and basically patify this mixture. It's actually working out pretty nicely. A little bit of extra here. I don't know if I'm going to use that, but yeah. This is good. All right, let's put the little one in the middle. Someone asked if you could deep fry these. I suppose. I don't know if you really need to, because we already kind of fried them anyway. But here they are. They're certainly not what you would call symmetrical, but that's one of the ways that you know that what you're making is real. And that, I mean, how would you guys know that I didn't maybe buy these from McDonald's or something and try to pass them off as something that I was cooking myself? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take them off the paper towel now that they've cooled a little bit. And we're going to start dressing it up with a little bit of our mayonnaise mixture, which not really seeing here, but that's you know what I've got? I've got a little bit of Grey Poupon, which is a very fancy type of mustard. And I think that that's going to go pretty well. I'm almost out of it, but we're going to use whatever we have left here. And we're just going to do a little scoop. It's nice that it actually is the same color as the patty, so that's always a nice thing because you're not shocking everybody with different colored types of foods. But I don't know. I think that's probably good. Okay. Well, here we go. For people out there that want to see what the professional one looks like, this is Henry's fish patties. I'm putting some old ingredients to use with just simply some bread, whatever veggies you have lying around, and a can of tuna. I have Grey Poupon, which is a particularly fancy type of mustard, but I would imagine that you'd be able to use one of the more lower types of mustard. But let's go ahead and see how these babies taste. Well, I can definitely taste the tuna. It's very fishy, and the green beans make it feel like you're eating something with more of a healthy consistency, which is nice. Probably could have used a little bit more herbs de Provence. But overall, I'm going to say that this was a pretty much a success. So let's just review what we did here. Let's put it under. What we did here today was that we took some old bread, dunked it in water, wringed it out, threw in some microwave green beans and whatever other veggies we had on hand, olives, but you can be creative with that. We churned it out into a dough. By hand, we put it into patty form and we laid it down on the skillet and on the griddle. The griddle wound up being more successful. And then we answered some questions, we did some songs, and then we took our patties off and plated them on a plate and added a little bit of Grey Poupon, and we came up with a delicacy that would probably make just about anybody salivate. And I'm particularly proud of this one. It's Henry's famous fish patties. So, everybody, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. Oh yeah, very important part of this is that I want to say a special thank you to a lot of the people that have been helping me so much. To the moderators, Dingo Bob, Foghan, Dom Beef, Hottest Bear, Do Dingle, Dagoggy, Dr. Flangus, and honorary mention to Baku's, Daisy Blossom, Melon 95, and Pilskman. I always like to thank Nim, because Nim gave me my start here on Twitch, along with some very supportive people. Bumble Vision, who I met recently, the LGX, Bill Larkin, who's my friend on here from years ago, and he does amazing music. And also Forsen, although I've never met Forsen, but he has sent a lot of people my way too. And most of all, though, I want to thank you, the people who are watching at home and eating. And are eating this food. So thank you, everybody. And my next stream is going to be at noon on Sunday, and I am going to, in my Discord, maybe we could post a link to the Discord. I'm going to be posting the ingredients the day before so that everybody can follow along. So, bon appetit.